Hey, in recent months, a relative bought himself a new keyboard and he showed it to me and I happened to like it. And I looked at it and all I had to say was, I want one. Why don't we take a look at the Womir WD-75 V2 keyboard today on ListQuest. Hey guys, welcome on back to the Anchorage, and thank you for coming back to see this ListQuest video. ListQuest is where I purchase products and I do a review of myself and kind of show it a little bit and talk about it a little bit and kind of give my opinion about it. And I'm going to do that today, discussing this keyboard. So yeah, it's the Womir WD-75 V2, or I'm going to assume version 2. And yeah, and the WD, I don't think it means water displacement, WD-40, but in neither sense. But we're going to be looking at that today. So one of the things we're going to be looking at is the software to control it and things like that. So I'm not going to go into any big descriptions. Let's just get right into it, and then we're going to pop right over. And this is the software. Now, the software is not it's not its own package or program. It's not its own local software that you save onto your computer. It's not like that at all. You don't download it or anything like that. The software, based on my observation, is actually inside the actual keyboard, and you have to do something funky. There's no software to download or anything like that. And they would say, no, there is software. Go out there. Yeah, it's a JSON file. That's not software. It's a file. Yeah, technically it's software, but it's a file. You can't launch it. You can't do anything with it. But you go in and you go to another address, which happens to be what we've got listed up here, usavia.app, and you can connect directly to the keyboard. You do have to plug it in using a USB-C cable, which it does provide one, and it's actually really nice. I like that cable. So, and because of how it's put together and who it's initially designed and produced for, it only works inside of a Windows environment. So us folks that are out on Linux, we're kind of thrown in, onto the curb. So, QRB, hello. So that's me. I'm on a curb. I'm on my curb. And the FCC proved that by assigning a radio station identification name. So it's got a Q and an R and a B in there. So the feds say I'm a curb. There you go. Welcome to the curb. Either way. So this is the software here. And, this software is okay. Now, I only say okay mainly because from my stance, it's hot garbage. And mainly because it's not user friendly. Oh yeah, it's got a GUI. Well, that's good at least. Got that to work off of. But you've got your language up here. And here you got firmware and docs. That goes out to a website or something. I'll show that in a second. They've got Discord and they've got GitHub. Okay. I'm not going to look at those two because I don't like Discord. I use Matrix with the Switch to Linux guys. So that's the end of that. But along the top, we've got a configure icon. We've got a key tester icon. We've got a design icon. And we've got a settings icon. So under configure, we're currently on the configure screen. So basically, we've got a representation of the keyboard up at the top here. And, we've got some theming that we've got going on here. And these are all the keys, and we've got different layers. We have 5 layers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to assume these are not assigned or anything like that. But neither sense. 0 is your out-of-the-box standard setup. Over on the left down here, We've got the key map. We've got macros, a number of different macros. And with that, there's no macros recorded yet. That's mainly because I don't have any to program. If I ever come up with any, I'll probably program them in. But, we can have 15 different macros. And then if we come down, we've got save and load. So save the current layout. And you can load a saved layout. Well, that's pretty good. You go into one of these, and when you go to save, you create a file name. It'll give one automatically. Which I've got done for this. It's kind of like the factory settings of source layout. And for loads, if you go to load, you can't see that, but it's you get a dialog box to search for a file. And down at the bottom, you've got the actual lighting control. This is the important part for me because I'll talk about that when I'm actually demonstrating it. Brightness. We can control the brightness here. You can pick a number of different things. All off, solid color, alpha mods, gradients up and down, left and right, breathings, band saturation, band val. I don't know what the val means, or value maybe. Pinwheel. I mean, we've got a whole lot of different things. Cycling, rainbow moving chevron, no rainbows, that's unicorn vomit. Spin, cycle, dual beacon, rainbow, no. Hue, breathing. I mean, we've got a lot of different things listed here that you can pick. I want a solid color, and it's green because channel colors, hello, and it's my color. Effect speed, if you've got a movement of animation of sorts with the RGB, then you can make it faster or you can make it slower. I've got a solid color. This means nothing to me. I'm going to go back to the key map. Now, to actually map a key, what you have to do is you come up here and you pick a T, you pick a key, you say T. So, and if we pull over here, you can see that it's kind of throbbing, gradient. It's kind of highlighted to let you know, hey, this is the key we're currently working with. And then down here, you pick a key to map to it. But I'm okay with the factory. That's all right. I don't need anything fancy. But as you can see, coming in here, there's no instructions. There's no how-tos or, anything like that. Yeah, you might find it out here, firmware and docs. Let me see if I can get out to that. Docs. Okay, simple. Start easy. Friendly. Got compatibility. Read the docs. Specification. I mean, and it's essentially a wiki. It's like, oh, set up in 5 minutes. Okay. Definition, names, and then it starts giving you code of different things and stuff like that. Now, that is where, when working with the keyboard software, this is where it's not user friendly. This is where you have to change your mindset to that of a developer. That's not good. To the average everyday user, that's not really a cool thing. You have to get into it and you have to play around with it and kind of learn that software. Excuse me, it's software. You have to get in there, play with it, learn that software, and get an idea of what's going on. Now, I've done that. All right, so I've left the software and, excuse me a second. Water from my drinking hole. Very good stuff. Anyways, I just left the software, and here's just a forewarning for folks. When you unplug it, that USB cord. Now, this may not affect everybody, but it affects me. Therefore, I don't care about what I'm about to say. So there we go. When you unplug it, it borks Windows, causes a blue screen of death or a black screen of death, whichever one's the current one. Me, I get a blue screen because I'm using Windows 10 to film this and to program the keyboard. It borked it, caused it to reboot. That should never happen. Never. So, that's just me. But either way, now let's talk about the keyboard itself. Now, of course, at the box here, it's a nice box. You know, it's not overly decorated or decorative or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. Very good. Not a whole lot of ink or anything, you know, stuff like that. But I mean, it's got a coating of such like that. You know, it's typical and whatnot. But you know, it's got that brown to make it look like it's supernatural. It's a nice aesthetic. I'll give it that. So inside, you have two foam pieces on the far sides. Everything's nice and snug in there, and I've taken everything out. And I had to have the keyboard out in order to show you that software, because you have to connect to it using that USB. When you connect to it to program it and stuff like that, you have to use the USB. It needs that live wire connection, because you know it's not going to transmit over Bluetooth or the 2.4 dongle, anything like that. Which I'm going to be using that dongle. No Bluetooth. Yeah, I don't need that. That's pointless for me, but neither sense. But we'll talk about those options. But inside the box, you've got the keyboard. You've also got a nice little happy box of accessories. That's these. I'll show those in a sec. Now we got a manual. Now my words about the manual. Yeah, well, it's got English in it, which is, you know, obvious. But, you know, it's got other languages in there too. It's not very long. It's informative for a second. You know, you've got product features. It's a Mac Win system. It does work on Linux. I'll let you know that right now. They advertise it as working with Linux. I've tested it, and it does work. So that's the important thing. It's got a 2.4 dongle, you know, for wireless, and you know, it's got that mode. It has a Bluetooth mode, it has a wired mode, and it has a sleep mode. And then it goes into telling you what the function key combos are, the system functions for Windows and the system functions for Mac. That's all this provides. No instructions, no how-tos, no troubleshooting help tips or anything like that. So, I mean, it's very, very, very rudimentary, very basic, not very informative. Now that's this one that I got. Other people might have a different version of this manual, but this version of the manual, it's garbage. In the big scheme, it's garbage. It's a little helpful, but that's about it. You kind of have to know what you're doing. But in either sense. The accessories box. This is the accessories box, and there's not a whole lot in here. You don't really need a whole lot to begin with. So I'll just pour everything out, and I'll show what everything's got. Well, you've got a keycap puller and a switch puller. Very simple, basic. You know, all you have to do is just take your fingers and squish it apart so that you can put this down and pop off the keycap. You know, when it comes to keycap pulling and switch pulling, you don't need a whole lot. So this is really good to have. I'm going to keep this aside. What else we got was we've got some replacement feet for the underside, and there's 4 of them. There's 4 feet, so there's 4 spares. That's good to have. Not very tall, but they're there. Good to have. And that's for when the existing feet that are already on the unit wear out. You can go ahead and replace them. There you go. And then we have a little baggie of some replacement switches. There's 3. Now, I did already replace one because out of the box, I did have a problem right away. The menu key. In the Linux world, we call that the super key. In Windows, it's the Win key. In Mac, what is that? Command? The command key? That funky little flower, whatever it is. But these are the little switches. They're linear switches. In other words, there's no clickety-clack. They're smooth, and it moves very nice. It's very, you know, it's nice and smooth and has a nice glide to it. And you know, It's good that they actually do provide 3 spare switches in case one happens to break. You can pop it off, pull the switch, and replace it with one of these. This is good to have. I'm going to keep that aside. That's all of the accessories. Oh, actually, no, I got one thing. The actual USB-C cable. So it's a nice, beefy cable. It's really good. It's thick. And it's got a USB-A on one end and a USB-C on the other, because on the keyboard, the connection point for the USB is a C input. It's fine. And then, of course, you got the A on the other end, which is good. And it's nice. It's fairly long. I mean, it's probably like an inch or two longer than my arms outstretched. So that's pretty good. Now with my cable setup on here, with my cable setup with this, I'm going to want to use this again. I'm going to feed this behind the desk and down under, and get this seated somewhere, probably on Solaria, because I have an expansion card with 7 USBs on it, USB-A ports, and I'll more than likely plug this into that because I've got like 4 or 5 open ports. So we've got that. So we are going to be looking at some pictures. I'll show you some pictures using CJ, and I'll be right back. All right, we are going to be going over into CJ to my next Cloud Pi instance that I've got going on. And this is going to be for this video. We're going to be going into my checklist for this video, so you're going to be able to see what I've got going on there. But I'm going to show you some pictures because I've actually attached some pictures out onto there. So let's go take a look. And so here we have it. I'm right inside the actual card. We're in deck, and we're currently working with ListQuest 2026, the keyboard. So here we are. These are all of my steps for this video. My description, my tags, my announcement, everything is there. All right, so if we go to attachments, I've got a number of pictures here. So we're going to go right here, and here it is. Here's what it looks like. Now, as you can see, we've got down in here, that's the underside, and we've got wood there. It happens to be walnut. That's my favorite wood. And then on the top, we've got black keys that's got painted white, and that's very nice and everything like that. And as you can see, the RGB is underneath, and the default out of the box happens to be unicorn vomit. Great for gamers. Great for people who like rainbows. All those folks. So this is the one that I bought. So, and there's 2 others. This is another option that you can buy. Now it looks almost kind of steampunkish with the brown and the tan, and then it's got this stuff here. I don't know. It looks kind of nice. I don't know, but in either sense. And then they have this option available, which is a translucent green. They went with green for the translucent. Awesome. Nature. Very nice. It happens to be my color as well. But I didn't buy that one. I bought this guy. Because, I don't need all of that. Everything that's underneath here. Now, as we can see, now the switch is directly right here. So here's the top of it. It's looking at it at a slight angle. So as you can see where the light on the switch is located, and it happens to be on the side closer to the user. Now, on a lot of other keyboards that are RGB, they'll have the light on the other side. And that is, they call that basically, it's a compass direction. When it's on the far side, it's north facing. When it's on the bottom, closer side, it's south facing. I wanted to make sure that it was south facing because I'm going to be showing you that in a little bit here. Now, I took these other pictures. I took all these pictures off of the product page on Amazon. So these are, here's the one mirror, QMK VIA 75% keyboard with natural wood shell. That shell, as we can see, wooden keyboard shell. It's walnut, and as you can see here, it's the entire shell. It's not particle board anywhere whatsoever. I love that. Hot swappable base, so those switches, you can just pop them out while it's plugged in or connected over Bluetooth or the dongle. Hot swappable, you can pop them out, put new ones in. And, these keycaps are a classic PBT keycap. So basically, you've got a white plastic shell, and then you've got an over cap. So you've got that. Prime mode connection wireless keyboard. So this keyboard offers versatile connection options. So you've got 2.4 gigahertz wireless, you've got wired USB, and then you've got Bluetooth. Oh, yeah, that's strategic right there. Let's put that directly above the phone. All right. And the battery inside is 8,000 milliamps. Amp hours, I don't know what the amp hours would be, but it's kind of nice. We've got a Nixie tube clock over here, and of course we've got a nice wooden desk. There's a key. There's a. I don't know. I'm gonna say that's an iMac, but it could be wrong. When there's the keyboard and how it looks with everything else, it's nice. So this works with PC, laptop, tablet, phone, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation. Okay, very nice. VIA open source software. Yes, that software that I showed you earlier, it is open source, but it's not an actual program or package. Take control of your functionality with open source support. Customize key mappings, create macros, stuff, blah, 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 to meet your needs. All right, that's great. That's awesome. But like I said before, you have to change your mindset to that of a developer. Hot swap custom keyboard. As you can see, there's the cap, there's the switch, and you can see the holes for it down here. And here's some statistics about the actual throw of those individual switches. It's a linear switch, total travel, actuation force, kind of material it is, pre-travel, factory lubed. They're pre-lubed. That's what gives them that nice smooth glide. So that's good. 5 layers of sound absorbing fillings material. Keyboard providing a soft cushion type feel and a delightful typing sound. And I'll try to demonstrate that. I hope the microphone picks it up. But here are the keys. There's the switches. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 layers of sound absorbing filling materials. Well, that must be everything below this layer here. So that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Okay. Now, what are those materials? They're probably some type of poly foam kind of thing, but there's 5 layers there, and they're shock absorbing. So, and then we are back to here. And my neighbor is vacuuming up above me, so I'm going to stop for a quick second while I wait for that to go by. All right. She's still vacuuming, but I think she's moving away from this area. So, it shouldn't get picked up by the mic. At least I'm hoping that. So we're going to look at the actual keyboard now. This thing is really, it's really nice. So yeah, this is it right here. So here's the keyboard, and you plug in back here, right there, and then you've got your switches on either side. One is for Windows mode versus Mac mode. I've got mine in Windows mode because that's the lesser of the two evils. And on the other side, we've got a rocker switch for between the dongle, so the wireless dongle, the Bluetooth, and the USB cable. So I've got that. And how does it sound? I mean, well, we'll get to the sound in a second, but it's got some good weight. So when this is on the desk, it's not going to openly slide around. It's solid, solid walnut wood. So that's really good. That adds to the sound dampening and the shock absorption of tapping the keys. I'll just add to those layers of sound absorption, shock absorption, that kind of thing. And also here are the four anti-slide pieces. So when you have it on a surface, flat surface, namely something that's typically slippery, like a desk or glass or something like that, these are rubber, so it won't slide around. And so now we get to go to how it sounds. And I hope this picks up. It might, but you can also watch the videos out there about it. So you can look those up. I don't have any of my own. I'm not gonna put any out on here. So there's that. So looking at this thing, the keys, the throw is really nice and smooth. It's got a nice clean glide. Okay, so there's nothing bad about that. It's very comfortable to type on. And people, there's gonna be out there be like, ooh, it's creamy. That's gross. But either way, it's a nice throw. It's a nice glide. It's nothing to make the typing experience bad. It's not bad. It's a nice smooth glide, and it's really nice in that respect. I mean, you can tell from this and using it and looking at it and feeling it that they spent a lot of brain. They had to go big brain on it. They went big brain on the physical engineering of this device. It's really, really good. And you also notice it's a 75%. So typically, what's the difference? Well, I don't know if I can get it up here, but I'll try. This is a 100%. This is my actual keyboard that I'm using right now. It's 100%. It's got a number pad off on the right hand side, and it's corded. Now it's corded because it's an EVGA, and gamers want, they want an actual cord, so the signal gets to the computer quicker. Whatever. I'm using it because it's big. It's it's tough. It doesn't slide around, and it works very well. However, I want to get rid of that cord, and I wanted something that would kind of match my motif out here. It's very mid-century modern. Hello, look. And this fits the bill. So I'm going to be doing that. This was put together really, really nicely. So, time for my stars. All right, so really quick, am I going to do a hot swap over to using that right away and just that? No, I'm in my testing phase, which means I'll actually test it, and I'll test it in production where I'll just push the main keyboard off to the side. I'll bring this one over, and I'm going to connect it using my USB hub, which I have right here on top of the desk, and plug the dongle into that. And then when I'm ready, then I'll do the switch out. When I feel comfortable enough where I can do the switch out, and then I'll keep this other keyboard either here or I'll put it in the closet right up there on the other side of the wall. Do that. So now the stars. All right. Now, given everything, beautiful construction, very, very strong. It's got good weight to it. It's got good performance, everything like that. And it's like, let's put the other stuff in there. Okay, we got the accessories. Accessories, they're very good. Minimal amount of them, not many needed. Very good. And then the software, hot garbage, but usable. And when you get in there and kind of learn it and play with it and stuff like that, it can turn into a I'm not going to say pleasurable experience, but a workable experience. to a level of comfort that's okay with folks. So my stars. How many stars do we get? Well, this is List Quest, so how many stars? Okay, so right off the bat, it's not a 5. Why is it not a 5? One reason, well, I've mentioned it a few times. It's that software. Hot garbage. Not user friendly. The other reason, I don't give 5 stars. Why isn't it a 5-star? Well, if you've seen the ones about my on-brand stuff from Walmart, well, those were because, well, Walmart, hello. This one's because Amazon. Some people would say Scamazon. Amazon's good. Now, I used to work with Amazon with my previous work job / career, which was their payment processor. I worked in a department where they ended up losing a lot of money, unfortunately. But you know, it's part of that business. You know, it's just the risk that they have to go on there, and you know, it was all right. I didn't work with them directly myself. I wasn't a contact point for them specifically, but I trained people on how to do the work. That was my job. I was a trainer for probably the better part. I mean, 13 or so years. So, and then I went to QA, quality assurance. That's when I started getting to work with the systems, and that's where I learned everything. Yeah, I worked with development a lot, and we had a good rapport with each other and everything like that. And that side of it is where I basically, you know, got my background is so that I could give a good review about that software, because I know that stuff. Well, I don't speak the language, but I understand what's going on. So, is it a 4-star? No. Why isn't it? Same reasons. Minus the Amazon side. It's because of that software. Now, also, the out of the box experience when I set it up, this key, which is on the Windows side, it's the Windows key. On the Linux side, it's super key. On Mac, it's that command flower thing. It wasn't working. The RGB light was solid white. It was on and steady as a white. And in my research, I kind of had to come to the conclusion that a steady white light meant that something wasn't working. And possible solution, change the switch. So I changed the switch. Didn't do that. That didn't fix it. Okay. Do a lot more research, and you know, and I'm like, okay, well, I came across maybe a factory reset would fix it. So I tried that. That worked. All right. So you run into a problem with keys not working or stuff like that, do a factory reset, and it may very well work. Can't say for certain, but everything points in that direction, or that direction. At that direction. Anyways, so not a 4 because of the out of the box experience. Had a problem to resolve. Was it overly difficult? To the average user, they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, what in the world is going on? Someone may actually go like, well, it's not working. I got to send it back. And they're going to send it back and get a refund. Can't say that's perfectly fine, but it's, you know, it's no big deal. But, you know, they've got a perfect, you know, they more than likely have a perfectly workable unit. They're just not taking the steps to troubleshoot the issue and resolve it. But because I encountered that situation, you'd lose another star. So therefore, henceforth, whereas for 2, it is 3 stars, matches the icon. So there we go. It's 3 stars. It is a very, very good product. It's built fantastic. It does operate very well. And it is a very pleasurable experience. And there we go. So, but, so I give it a 3. Very honest 3. All right. And I just had the thought come into my mind about the folks of being like, hey, show us what it looks like. Show us what you've got your setup like in there. What your RGB is looking like. Well, the channel colors and my color is green. And therefore, I wanted a solid green to match my EVGA keyboard. So why don't we look and see what it looks like? There you go. Here it is with the green. I hope you like that. It's solid green. And, in looking at the green, got a blue one in it because it's looking for a Bluetooth signal. Let me switch it over to the other side. There's that. And there we go. So, still blinking. Oh, that's the 4 key. Yeah, there's nothing to say what that 4 key blinking means. Anyways, but in either sense, the green is working, and it's nice against the brown of the walnut. My favorite wood, my favorite shade, and it is just very, very nice. You know what? I actually just thought of it's looking for a connection, so I'll turn that on and we'll see if it's blinking. Nope, it's not blinking anymore. That was it. I just had to turn on the dongle. My USB hub is a switchable hub, so all I had to do is turn on that port, and there we go. All right, so I'll put that back off to the side, cut you off, and I'll use you in the future. So that's my review of the Warmier WD, not water displacement, WD-75 version 2. So would I recommend actually getting it? I recommend getting it. Just know what you're getting, and know what you're getting yourself into as far as the software goes. Even you can be a developer. Alrighty. Bonus content. Sorry. I started to edit the video and stuff like that. I came to the part about when I was showing the translucent green version of the keyboard, and it hit me. I've got something extra to do, and it's going to have to involve the keycap puller. So, yeah. So, get a good look, because it's not going to look like that in a second here. So, I'll be right back. All right, so yeah, I went out and I took this one step further. I bought these. These are keycaps. So I could have custom keycaps in a matching motif style. So that's what this looks like now. It looks like a complete wooden keyboard. And with the lights, if I turn those on, get over there. Yep, here's what it looks like with the lights on. Yeah, the dongle's turned off. Yeah, I'll turn that on. We'll get you back. And yeah, so that's where it looks like. It's got all of the keys, all the letters on it, and everything like that. Oh, Ivan, I want to see the rainbow. I want to see all that stuff. No. And those custom keycaps came with our own key puller. I like this style better, because you can control it better. You can get in there and you can just slowly pop it out, whereas this thing, when you pop it out, it can fly away. In a sense. So I'm going to keep this in the box, which just fell on the floor. Oh well. Thank you very much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll talk to you later. Skál. We'll talk to you soon.